Hi, I'm Bill from CJ Pony Parts. If you've been following along on our YouTube channel, you're probably familiar with the 70 Mach 1 behind me. We've been doing a lot of suspension upgrades to this car, basically using the entire Total Control products catalog. We use their front coilover system, all of their engine bay braces, the rack and pinion steering conversion, and most recently the rear 4-link setup that also went with coilovers. Now that the front and rear suspension have been upgraded, it's time to tie it all together. And to do that, we're going to use a subframe system, also from Total Control. Today we're going to show you how to install this using our 70 Mach 1. The subframe system is basically made up of two separate parts, the subframe connectors and then the subframe center support brace. The connectors are made of 2x2 steel. They're going to weld onto your factory frame rails. The brace is going to bolt to the subframe connectors to further strengthen the chassis. As an addition, adds a drive shaft loop in the center. The support is made of 1 5/8 tubing, and the entire thing comes in a nice black powder coat, and it'll fit your 1965 through 1970 Coupe or Fastback. For this installation, you'll need a lift and a pull jack or a jack and jack stands, welder, grinder, 1/4-inch ratchet, 1/2-inch socket, 3/8 ratchet, shallow 9/16 socket, deep 9/16 socket, torque wrench, 9/16 wrench, drill, 3/8 drill bit, marker, tape measure, mallet, pry bar, file, and safety glasses. You want to begin the installation by getting the car off the ground and remove the exhaust and the drive shaft. It's designed to clear most exhaust systems. If you have a 2.5, you should be okay. 3-inch might be a little bit tight, but you want to take it off for the installation. Same thing with the drive shaft. To install the loop, you have to remove the drive shaft anyway, so take everything off to start to make the installation much easier. And once you do that, the first step is to measure between these two front floor supports. To install the subframes, you have to have 27 1/8 minimum between these two. If you don't have that width, you'll have to actually hammer them out to get that. You want to check it first and see where your measurement comes in. We're right at 27 1/4, so we're good to go as far as the width. You also want to take a good look at the floor support. The front of the subframe connector is going to wrap around this, basically right in this area here. In the case of our 70, these are some aftermarket ones that were replaced probably a long time ago, somewhere in the 80s, maybe early 90s. And these have a flare on the outside edge here. This is actually not correct and not the way they're supposed to be made. For the subframe to fit properly, we're going to have to modify these before we begin. We're going to start by test fitting the driver's side subframe connector. These are going to be a tight fit. This is going to be very tight against the frame rail. It's also going to be tight back here, so you're probably going to have to hammer it up into place. Now keep in mind, in a perfect world, these will go right on without an issue. More than likely, it's not going to do that. We're going to have to probably do a little bit of grinding, maybe a little bit of clearancing to make everything go where it's supposed to. This one's actually pretty good on this side. Now we're going to test fit the cross support. You want to make sure this little bracket back here, this is designed for a torque arm. When you put the support up into place, you want this bracket to be on the driver's side. Now we're just going to see how well the holes line up. And the holes are slotted, so you have a little bit of room to adjust here. You just want to make sure you can see all the holes, so all 8 holes are visible. Now, as you can see, ours did fit nice and tight in there, though. If it is off, it does include shims. We won't need them. All right, now that we got everything test fit, we know it's going to fit where we want it to go. We're ready to begin the process of getting ready to weld. To do that, though, first we're going to do is mark everywhere these went on the car. Then we're going to remove the subframe connectors. Total Control supplies them with a nice black powder coat, but unfortunately, if you're going to weld, you have to grind that powder coat off. So we're going to grind those and prep them, and then also prep the frame rails on the car, make sure there's no rust or anything, So we're ready to actually get a nice clean weld. With everything marked, now we can remove the subframe connectors and prepare to weld. RK is going to ground the powder coating off of the subframe connectors where we need to weld. While he's doing that, I'm going to prep the car. Everything cleaned up, now we can put them back up into place and get ready to weld. And obviously, again, before you're going to weld these in place permanently, you want to double check the fitment of the cross pipes. Good? All right. We're going to start by tack welding everything, get everything tight in place, then we'll go back and do our final weld. I'm going to leave this part to RK, who's a much better welder than I am. Once you're done welding everything, you want to make sure you prime and paint any areas of bare metal. Once you're done there, we can move forward to the front floor supports and drill the holes for mounting the cross brace. I'm going to drill 4 holes on each side, 2 for the outside and then 2 on the inside. Once you're done drilling, check all 4 of the holes to make sure the bolts go through all the way easily. If necessary, you can ream the holes out slightly to make sure everything clears. Okay, now I can put the cross brace up into place. Again, make sure this little cutout notch bracket here is on the driver's side. Make sure now getting all the hardware, just put everything on just hand tight. There will be a little bit of adjustment to get everything to line up. Now we'll go through and tighten everything down, then come back through and torque it to 35 foot-pounds. We went to tighten everything. We did notice over in this corner here on the driver's side, there was more of a 1/16 of a gap. If you do have a gap like that, grab some of the provided shims to fill the gap. The shims come in different sizes, so just find the one that fills in properly, and then reinstall the hardware. Now we'll go back through and torque everything down. Now we're going to bolt the loop to the bracket and put it in the car. The orientation of the loop doesn't really matter as long as it's in the right place in the car. So we're going to bolt this together like this loosely, put it up in the car again loosely, and then reinstall the drive shaft and figure out where it's going to have to sit. We'll put the loop up into place and again loosely install the hardware. All right, now we're going to reinstall the drive shaft and check for clearance. Now with everything in place, obviously make sure the drive shaft has no clearance issues, and then you want to measure. You want to be around 6 inches from the center of the U-joint to the center of the loop. Yeah, we're pretty much perfect. We can tighten it down. And now we're going to go back and torque them to 35 foot-pounds. And your installation of the subframe system is now finished. A couple things you want to keep in mind with this installation. The exhaust system probably on your car is not going to work. The exhaust has to go up over this and kind of travel down the drive shaft to go out the back. So if you're doing this and the rear suspension at the same time, wait till you've done the complete installation, then order your exhaust system. As far as the install, it's pretty straightforward. Take you around 3 hours. Be back on the road in no time.